Okay, so today's pepper review is going to be on the Bode pepper. All right, so let's take a closer look at the Bode pepper. Now, this is a first year grow for me. I have never grown this before. And let's go over the plant profile and we can look right into it. Now, my peppers have been getting very violently attacked by some kind of an insect. And I just want to show you some of the damage that they do to my peppers and what they've been doing. Okay, you see that hole right there? That happens a lot. A lot of my peppers get these holes. In fact, this plant here had about 3 or 4 beautiful golden peppers on there, and whatever insect that was got in there and chewed holes, and they literally rotted and fell off the plant. So I'm losing really, really good, valuable peppers because of these insects. So I don't have very many peppers on here because the peppers are getting holes chewed in them, and that's part of the reason why it's not being very productive. Though it is putting out a few peppers, and I should have enough on here to be able to do this review. So better get it now before the insects get it, I guess. Again, I don't know what insect is doing this, but it's really reaping havoc inside my greenhouses here. So this is called the Bode pepper, first year grow. Don't know much about it. There's not much information about this pepper on their website or anything, so I can't really elaborate on what country it's from or anything like that because I really don't know much about it. I just know I got the seed from them, and whatever information I can find on it, I will put it in the description. So as far as the plant profile goes, we'll go with the stem. It's kind of a rigidy stem when it's young. Again, once the stem gets woody, eventually that's not going to matter. But when you first grow in a plant, you want to look for some of these identifying factors just to make sure that you're getting this pepper when you order those seeds. The leaf profile is a regular leaf type like this. It's not narrow, it's not broadleaf, it's right in the middle. It's the regular size. Here's the bottom of the leaf. Okay, that's the top. And you can see there's multiple stems coming off the bottom. So this is a perfect candidate for me to bring in because I can basically cut this plant right here. And that little bottom area will grow throughout the winter, but very slowly. And in spring when I bring it out, boom, those will come up. So this is a good candidate for that. And it seems to be generally a smaller profile plant. It's not a very huge plant, though. If you plant it by itself in a very sunny spot, and you give it a lot of water, nutrients, light, really good soil, I'm sure this plant can get over 3 feet. But in general, if you're just going to put it in little pots, this is a beautiful little plant, it seems like, to grow in little pots. So you don't have to necessarily plant this in your, if you're in an apartment and you have a small area to grow a few plants, and this is one of the plants you're considering growing, this may be a good candidate for you because it seems like if the pot is small, the plant will stay small. And you don't have to worry about gigantic plants growing on your little balcony or whatnot. So the stem, again, it's smooth, but it's got ridges in it. There's absolutely no purpling in the stem, this plant at all. Here's a look at the flower. If I can always show you the flowers, I try to show you the flowers because that's a very important aspect to identifying these pepper plant varieties. So that's a look at that flower. If I could show it to you without breaking it off with my big hands. See, that's what it looks like. It's hard to get this camera on the right angle so it focuses correctly. Okay, that's what it looks like. It's actually a very small flower. You can see that flower size to my thumbnail. It's very small. And I noticed with this particular pepper, here's some of the green ones. That's what they look like when they're green. I notice wherever these peppers tend to get exposed to the sunlight, they tend to get a little purpling on it. Now this pepper I'm going to break off because it's not going to develop correctly anyway. So unfortunately, as you can see, my peppers are getting attacked by some kind of an insect that likes to chew holes in my peppers. I've never actually seen this before, but this is something new for me to have to deal with, and it's doing it to a lot of my peppers. I'm barely able to get any viable peppers off my plants this year because quite a few of my plants only put out about 2 or 3 of these peppers, and every one of those peppers on that plant got destroyed by this insect that is chewing these holes in it. So if anybody knows what kind of an insect is doing this, please comment below. Try to give me an idea on what you think it could be, or give me that way I could look it up online. And if I see something that I've seen around here that I think might be that, then we have to deal with that, because I put a lot of time and money into growing these plants, and for this to happen is a very depressing thing to see. Okay, I don't mind leaf-eating insects, but when they start going to your fruit and eating holes in your fruit like that, that's where I start having a serious problem. You could eat the leaves, but stay off of my fruits. That's the one thing that I really can't tolerate, unfortunately. Again, you know, there's some more peppers here, and so you've seen the flower, you've seen the leaf, and you've seen the stem. So let's pick one of these. Let's grab this one right here. Now you can see I don't have very many that are red on there, so I really got to be conservative with the seeds this year. Really got to make sure I save the seeds to this, because we want to make sure we get a couple of these plants going next year, and hopefully I can get some really good examples of them and get a lot of production and get a lot of seed so I can offer seed in the future for it. And that's generally how I do it. I try to give you like 3rd generation grow on my seeds. So when you get those seeds, I've already grown them out for 2 or 3 generations. Any hybridizing that's happened a year before or anything, we could generally weed that out of the seed. So I try to give you a pretty good, decent quality, pure seed. All right, so we got a customer who wants to come in. Can I help you, sir? Can I help you? You a customer? Yes, he is. So that's what it looks like. The Bode pepper. I really like these little tiny peppers. They're very cute. They're very novel. I like that because in general, when I have to eat a huge hot pepper, that's a lot of work getting it down and then keeping it down in some cases. And then, you know, you got to deal with the heat afterwards. So I like these little ones because they don't really have that much of an impact. You only need to have one small one to really get the taste of it without worrying about eating too much of it and having a bad hot reaction from it down the road. So these little ones are really fun for me. And yeah, they're hot in the beginning when you eat them, but at least you don't suffer from them later on. You know what I mean? You're not getting that bad effect from it. When you eat really big hot peppers like these scorpion peppers, there's a lot of material on there that's very hot and that can affect you later. So these are a lot of fun to grow, these little ones. And if you like that quick heat while you're in the garden, these are nice little snacking peppers too. You see a couple red ones growing there, you can just eat them. You'll be fine. Spit the seeds out and hopefully they come up next year. But that's it. Let's turn you around and give it a taste test. Alright, so we're doing a pepper review today on this little pepper. And I don't know if it's hot. I don't know if it's sweet. I can only imagine that this little thing has got to have some kind of heat on it. We just don't know how much heat. Now, it's a little pepper, so I'm probably going to have to deal with some kind of seeds and eating most of the seeds, though I really want to save the seeds from it because I really don't have a lot of seeds from this plant this year because, as you see earlier in my video, my peppers have been getting chewed apart and attacked by some kind of an insect going into there and chewing holes in my peppers, and they're chewing holes in probably some of my prize peppers this year. Just really devastating my crop. And it's got these nice little convolutions on it, these little ridges that give it a nice micro bell pepper shape to it, which is really interesting looking. And if you look at the very top of it, you look at the calyx on the top right here. You see right there where the stem meets the pepper? You don't really see a cap on this thing. I'm not sure if they're all doing that. Now, that's a very interesting aspect to this pepper. Now, I don't know if this is a annum or a chancy or a pubescens. I don't know what this is. But that's very unusual to see no cap where the stem connects to the pepper. So that's actually kind of strange. So keep that in mind. That's a very interesting aspect to this pepper. No cap on the, no calyx or cap on there. So let's give it a go. I'm getting hiccups. This thing's got to have some heat on it to do that to me. Whew. Man, that thing's got some heat on it. Whoa. My eyes are watering from this one. Wow, my whole mouth is on fire. Whew, man. That thing is really hot. I'm putting this thing up around 200,000. Right out the gate. The whole mouth is burning. The tongue is annihilated. The heat is all the way to the back of the throat. All the way to the back. The whole back of the throat is cooking right now from that thing. Holy mackerel. Totally didn't expect that. Whoa. This is definitely 200,000+. Easy. Wow. That is incredible heat on that thing. Look at my eyes. See they're watering? That is very, very hot. I'm actually spitting and salivating to death. It's hard for me to talk and make this video. My mouth is filling up with saliva. See, there's no hat on that calyx. It's a very short cap. Wow, that is incredibly hot. Whoa. I was not expecting that. I thought it would be warm, but I didn't think it would be furnace hot. I mean, this is furnace level heat here. I am on fire. Okay, it's still burning me, but I started heat cupping from it. When I start getting heat cups before my mouth catches on fire, that's a warning that it's going to be hot. So I usually get ready in case I have to vomit. So I couldn't really talk as I was doing this video. I had to stop a lot because I don't want to throw up right in my camera. I totally did not expect that. Wow, man, that is incredibly hot. Heat-wise, I'm going to put this thing 200,000+. I'm almost willing to put this at the upper end of like habanero heat. 300,000+. I'm really putting it way high because, I mean, I was eating, what do you call those things? The scorpions. I make powder, so I was making powder. I've been eating the scorpion powder and the reaper powder and the nagla, and I've been eating that. So that 1 million plus heat, it has a certain type of an effect on you. Even if the pain isn't as bad, you still get an adrenaline response from that. I almost got an adrenaline response from this. Now, generally, I don't get an adrenaline response, meaning like the whole inside of me is shaking. It's your whole inside starts shaking, and that's your body going into a reaction. You're starting to feel the adrenaline kick in. And I normally don't get that with peppers under 1 million. Usually everything 1 million and above usually causes that reaction. Oh man. You have no idea how hot that thing was. The heat is coming down. Wow. That was a fast roller coaster ride straight down to the bottom. I was like free fall with heat. Ooh, man, I totally didn't expect that. Now, the flavor of it. When I first bit the thing and ate it, it was very soap flavor. That tells me it had a very high capsaicin aspect to it. The soap flavor definitely came out on this one. But it wasn't sweet like habanero. It wasn't fruity like habanero. It was sort of like a rich tasting, non-fruity type pepper taste. It's not necessarily cayenne flavor, but it definitely wasn't habanero type of flavor. It had a nice rich flavor. Man, this would be really good for cooking. As far as like what can you use it for, I don't know. I would say probably pickling it is probably the best thing, or just breaking them off. They come right off that stem. They pop right off. You don't have to break anything off or nothing. Pop right off. I would say throw them directly into your salad, or if you're making meats and you want to try something really interesting, well, as you're making hamburger meat, you throw these in there because they're small enough to mix into a hamburger patty. Just whole. Take them whole and put them right in your hamburger patty and fry your hamburger that way with those things in it. I guarantee you, your eyes will light up when you hit one of those. Whew, man. But it had a very nice flavor. I like the flavor profile on it a lot. It's the kind of type of flavor profile I look for in peppers. So I really like that effect that it gave me. It wasn't fruity and it was nice. It's not a spicy pepper where it's going to necessarily come back at you. But it did have a little bit of an aftertaste to it, but not bad or anything. Just, I did taste it. I don't know if that's going to repeat itself later, but man, the heat that came out of that thing was absolutely furnace furious hot. I'm telling you, I am putting that thing, and that's my Scovilles tend to be a little lower than probably what they should be. And if I'm telling you it's 200,000+ on the Scoville for that pepper, it's probably $500,000 for a lot of people. Not that I have a high heat tolerance, it's just I don't know how to rate the heat on them. I don't accurately know how to do that. So I'm telling you 200,000, I think could be 300 to you, 400,000. But what I will say is that it was definitely 200,000 plus. That heat that came out of that thing was absolutely furious. It came out, it lit my whole mouth up fairly quickly. It wasn't a creeper. It came in pretty fast. I was heat cupping. I was already, when I was chewing it, you swallow saliva and stuff before I actually swallowed the pepper. And there weren't very many seeds in it. There was only a couple seeds, like maybe 2 or 3 seeds. I spit those out. There was no seeds really to save in that thing. So that tells me I got to really make sure I collect every seed from every one of those peppers that are left on there. If I get, more than 2 more or 3 more of those, because there's not many of them. But as I was swallowing my saliva before my mouth really lit up on fire, I started heat cupping right away. Boop, boop, boop. I was like, whoa, that's unusual. I shouldn't be feeling that, I didn't expect that. I really didn't, because I could eat stuff like the charpitas. I could eat like the Texas Mahon peppers, the little ones, those little bird peppers. Or I can eat, other smaller peppers similar in size like that are actually very, very hot. I don't get heat cups generally from that, because there's really not enough material in there to really fire up my stomach to do that. But this one, it is my first swallow going down. I already felt the heat cup come out. It wasn't like you were feeling like you knew it was going to happen. It was just like, oh, whoa, what was that? It just happened all of a sudden. And that's where you can projectile vomit too. That, just so you know, when you eat a hot pepper like that and you don't even feel the heat yet, and your stomach is sensitive, so it feels it, and you can projectile vomit, meaning as soon as you don't even know you're going to throw up. It just happens. And that's why a lot of people throw up and they get it stuffed into their nose, and that is probably one of the most painful things you ever want to experience, let me tell you. You don't want that to happen. I would rather it burn me and suffer in my stomach and go out the other way than have to throw a hot pepper up. Because you're not just throwing up the hot pepper, you're also throwing up bile. And the bile is an acid form, so you're getting burned by your bile and you're getting burned by the hot pepper at the same time. It's an awful experience. Absolutely awful. I never recommend anybody ever have to go through that, or encourage that to happen. Try to get it down. You're already in there. Try to get past that. Get it down. Deal with it on the other end, because when it comes out the top end, I really truly do believe it does some kind of damage to your esophagus, because you're throwing a pure hot burning fresh bile right from your gallbladder and your liver, and that bile is extremely acidic. It's not good for you. So I was heat cupping from this, and I was burning on fire at the same time, so I really got cooked up from it good. And again, the flavor of it was very nice. It's hard for me to totally remember it, because when I first ate it, it was very soap flavor. With the whole flavor profile out of it came out as soap, meaning it was almost all fresh capsaicin. So that soap flavor totally filled my mouth, but then the aftertaste from it was very nice. It was like a very nice type of non-fruity pepper taste. That's really the only thing I can say to it. Didn't really necessarily have any overtones or undertones to it. Nothing really funky. Just a very nice pepper. Maybe in the cayenne type of flavor profile. But not 100%. It kind of had its own thing. But when the heat comes out of this thing directly when you eat them, it's ferocious hot. You can't even focus on the flavor. This thing could taste like dog do, and you wouldn't matter. You're lit up. You can't taste anything anyway. But yeah, that was a really, really, really hot pepper. I won't be taste testing any of those again like that for a while, though I will dry those out. Those kind of peppers are nice to dry out as well and make a nice powder out of it. And then you can sprinkle a little bit of that powder in your food. Now, I don't recommend sprinkling pure powder from these kind of peppers directly on your food because you can't feel the heat when you eat it, but you might put too much of it on and you say, oh, this ain't burning me, so you start dumping it on your food and eating it, like a lot of it. It's slower release when you do that, and it'll hit you really hard later. Trust me on that. When you dry these peppers out, they're not the same as eating them fresh. When you eat them fresh, you're on fire right away. The brakes get put on right away. You're like, oh, you can't go too much further than this one. Whereas if you dry them out, you can put the same amount of mass on your food. It's like nothing. You don't even feel it, but you'll feel it like 10 minutes later. Then you know you've taken in maybe too much. And it's too late by then because now it's in you and you're going to have to deal with it. That's just the way it works when you dry them. When you eat them fresh, it's sort of like a braking mechanism. You get burned in the mouth, it kind of stops you. You ain't going to overdo it. When you dry them out, that's where you got to be careful. Trust me, I've been doing a lot of it this year. So anyway, that's your pepper review for the Bode pepper. Anyway, that's it. That's your review. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.